I don't know what just happened. My Streamlabs crashed. There's some kind of weird error that popped up. I don't know what that was about. I don't know what that was about. It's messed up. I don't know what's going on. Everything was running fine, and then all of a sudden I get this weird errors, something about the capturing device or capturing software or something like that, and my whole thing just crashed. I don't know what happened. I don't know. I do not know. I just know it was weird. Very weird. So let me try to get a new link that I can paste on my Twitter, because that's how fast it was. My stream crashed before I could even get the tweet out. I was typing it up when that error popped up. I've never seen that particular error before either. Just another weird thing that's happened in regards to the channel this week, I guess. Whatever. I'm tired of thinking about it, really. There. Whatever. Hi, Nick. Hi, Alaskan Dude. Hi, Juggernuts. Hi, Shadow Deist. Yeah, Clean Frame. Tell me about it. Tell me about it. That's just one of the things that happened this week. Now we have my software malfunctioning. That's super too. And I've never seen, I've had the stream crash before, of course. I've had the internet drop out on me, of course. But I've never seen that error before. I've never seen that error before. That is new. See what I mean from last week? When I get rid of all the bushiness that I grow for doing, for when Sarge wants to do a video, I don't look 50. But when I let it grow out bushy, I look 50. Because when I shave it, it hides some of the gray, and you can see more of the black that's still left. But even so, it would look better if I had some, color for men or whatever to get me my original shade back. But it is what it is. I'm at work right now, and I might become a key holder. A key holder to what? People have been complaining about PayPal closing their account for no reason for years. Yeah, I don't know, man. I didn't do nothing. We'll talk about that in 2 minutes. It's just crazy. Hi, sorry, I am on a trip in a hotel with my parents. Well, don't be worrying about it then. They'd probably think it weird that you're sitting there watching a 50-year-old man on YouTube anyway. So don't worry about it, Blaze. Wouldn't want to get you in trouble. $5 from Darkstar. Thank you, Darkstar. Let me get you a dollar bill going. Or as someone said, a $7 bill. What does it say from Darkstar? What cartoons did you watch as a kid? Oh, well, I'll answer that question in 2 minutes since this is open discussion night. We haven't hit our official start time, Darkstar, but I promise your question will be first. Dollar General key holder. Oh, that's right. You work for Dollar General. Sorry, I forgot. Nothing wrong with working for Dollar General. I've worked for Red Food Grocery Store, Food Line Grocery Store, Pizza Hut, Far More Video, Food Max, Buy Low, Circuit City, Campo, Lowe's, Office Max. I ran the gamut, baby. Ran the gamut. Whackin' Hut Security. Yep. I've been all over, baby. And that's before I got into the whole IT thing. That was just trying to have pocket money while I was living in my parents' basement. Sometimes I wish I still was living in my parents' basement. Then I'd have a lot more money and freedom. Not saying that eighth restricts me, but I mean, because of the nature of my job, I'm kind of tied to here. I don't get out a whole lot. I have to make special arrangements to be able to literally have a full day where I'm not in some way involved with work. I have to schedule it out. That I won't be able to log in and do unpaid overtime today. So put that down on the calendar. All right, 7th, you're good. Just the nature of the job. But I've been with them 12 years. I'm not going to complain. Anyway, it is Saturday, 6 o'clock, October 19th, 2024, and this is the 7th Cast. As always, I'm your venerable host, your friendly neighborhood 7th. 8th is up in his area there upstairs doing 8th things. Probably attempting another speed run of the remake of Silent Hill 2, or more than likely, balls deep in metaphor. He's loving metaphor right now. Clean Frame, after a couple of days after the last 7th Cast, Clean Frame donated $25 for me to play this game called Blood, B-L-U-D. And it's god-awful. And it's not the only game that people have requested for review. And all of it so far has been kind of horror / Halloween themed. I got one person that wants a review of Blood, Clean Frame, and then the other is God, why can't I think of the name of the game? It's the one that I'm always bragging about, the one that I recently bought pre-ordered the physical copy for. It's in the style of Medieval. Pumpkin King or whatever the hell the name of that game is. I can't remember. But you're a pumpkin-headed guy. Pumpkinhead? I don't remember. But it's that game. I figure that what I can do is make like one big 7th Halloween video that has all the reviews of games that people have donated for me to review, all in one big massive video. Because I don't get any views or ad revenue off of this stuff anyway. So I might, instead of breaking it up to try to get more out of it, I'd rather just make one big massive super video. So if there's any other games that you would like reviewed for this big Halloween video, although I must say, yeah. First, let me answer Dark Star's question because he donated $5, and I appreciate it, Dark Star Angel. I watched a lot of cartoons as a kid. Most of them I have on DVD box sets back behind you over there. Transformers, G.I. Joe, He-Man, Silverhawks, Thundercats, Mask, Beetlejuice, The Real Ghostbusters, Captain N, The Game Master, Teen Wolf, the series, Scooby-Doo, Bugs Bunny Roadrunner show, very briefly, The Smurfs, before I aged out of that. Mighty Orbots, Space Stars, which was like the Herculoids and Space Ghost and some others thrown into the mix there. Plastic Man, just tons and tons of cartoons, man. Maybe one 7th Cast, I'll just go and grab all of the box sets I have, and I'll just show all the box sets I have. I didn't even really watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles at all, because by that point, I was in middle school and I was obsessed with the Nintendo. But I do have the box set for it. So, I'll show all the box sets one day. But anyway, let me catch up real quick to the chat. Yeah, I saw the whole thing, the Jesus is Lord. Oh, then you people came to the wrong. I saw that. I saw it. Did you see the news that ReviewTechUSA deleted? Yes, I saw that. He was making $600 a month and wasn't even posting videos to it. I don't think that was ad revenue. I don't think that was from views on his old videos. I think that's people that signed up for either Patreon or YouTube membership, and that way he was getting the money whether he posted videos or not. I think that's what that was. $600 extra a month for me. He's talking about it like it's chump change. And I mean, we've seen bits and pieces of the house Rich lives in. It's not like he lives high on the hog. It's not like he has a mansion or anything. But he talks about $600 like it's pocket change. For me, an extra $600 a month would be life-changing. I'd be able to pay off most of my remaining debts within 6 months to a year with an extra $600 a month. I don't think you should be making light of $600 a month. It just looks skeezy. And I don't have nothing against Rich, but, crapping on $600 a month, I'd kill to have an extra $600 a month. I'd love to be able to feel like I earned $600 a month from my viewers for the content that I make. I don't feel that I earned that, so I don't complain about it because I'm a part-timer. I don't try to make a living off YouTube. Rich did. And the reason Rich wanted to make a living off of YouTube is because he hated to work. He told me as much. First time I ever had a conversation with him, it was back when I was first coming up on YouTube. And I gave him some advice because he was... Now, I don't know if this is when he was working at Best Buy, but what he told me was that he worked at a prestige audio store. Kind of like Don Cheadle's character in Boogie Nights, where he worked at a store that all they did was sell stereos. That's what Rich told me he did. Maybe he was working at Best Buy at that time. I don't know. But he told me that he worked at a prestige audio place selling audio equipment, and that his boss was a jerk and was always telling him that he was crap at his job and that he didn't know what he was doing and that he was bad at it and was always blaming him for everything and blah, blah, blah. And I told him, look, your review tech being the key word, you would make more money getting into entry-level help desk than you would at what you're doing. Why don't you go do help desk and then use that to work your way up into higher-paying IT stuff rather than waste away on, hawking stereos. And he didn't want to hear it. And, of course, eventually his channel took off and he just quit work altogether. I imagine now he's going to have to go back to work because he's screwed himself. He pushed himself into a corner by chasing drama. Here he is, ReviewTechUSA. When was the last time he actually reviewed a piece of tech? It all became about Quantum TV and DSP and 8-Bit Eric and all these other guys that he's gone, just kind of... he talks about Keemstar and he talks about Tipster and whatnot. He's tried to do the same kind of content for a couple of years now because he saw how much his views shot up from the drama stuff. But drama doesn't sustain your channel, and it's not stuff that is good for repeat viewing. You can go back and watch old AVGN videos that are 15 years old, and they're still good. They're still fun to watch. You're not going to go back and watch the 37th video that Rich made about Darkside Phil. No one's going to rewatch that. Not unless it's the best, only good part of it is clipped by some other person that's aggregating all the best clips of his videos and putting out their own content, making money off of Rich. It's just dumb, man. I got nothing against Rich, but I don't know what's up with him. He's making some really crap decisions lately. I would love to see you do a review of Astrobot and Space Marine 2. I can't review Space Marine 2 because I don't have Space Marine 2. If I get $70 worth of donations tonight, I'll buy Space Marine 2, and I will add that to the list of games that are be reviewed in the Halloween video. So far, there are only 2. Seventh brains are fried. Tell me about it. How much do you want for me to donate for you to review Season 2 of The Walking Dead? I don't know, man. I don't know. I hated that season. I never finished it. I got maybe 3 episodes into it. Probably more than you'd be willing to pay. What are your thoughts on Amid Evil? I don't know what that is. It's time to resurrect the Sony Brotherhood. I wasn't Brotherhood of Sony. I was Trey Brotherhood. Trey Brotherhood. Brotherhood of Sony was a YouTuber. Thoughts on Transformers G1 movie? You mean the most recent one? It was very good. It was very good. It deserved to get a lot more, earn a lot more money than it did. Would you ever dedicate an hour of the show to talk? No, Juggernauts, no. No, thank you. I think Rich needs to get off the internet, stop being obsessed with DSP. Well, that would be, what eventually is going to have to happen with him anyway, which is he's going to have to at least get a part-time job to supplement the money that he's no longer going to be making off of his YouTube. Of course, this could also all be a stunt. He has 30 days to restore his YouTube channel before it becomes permanently gone. And I mean, he already killed his Twitter account and then he brought it back 24 hours later, so I'm glad I never watched. I've only ever had one negative interaction with Rich. And that was where, when I was still popular, he asked me he wanted to interview me on his channel about console wars and the mentality behind it and its connection to pro wrestling and all this other stuff. And so, we did that whole interview, went about an hour. And then when it's all over, he's like, well, damn, my system wasn't recording the audio. Oh, well. And he didn't offer to reschedule it, to do it over again. It was just, well, it didn't work the first time, so screw that idea. And the interview never went live. Wasted an hour of my time. I would have been happy to do the whole thing over again. But he didn't want to. And so that was one thing that I had beef with him for. That, things didn't work out for me, I just give up. It rubbed me the wrong way. And I told him off, and he got mad at me for a while. But a few years later, many years later, when my channel was already kaput, he made it up to me by inviting me to be in this group chat with him and Solid Rev and General MLD and Black Bond. So it was all of us all together just talking about those days. And I don't know if you ever got to watch it, but it was a lot of fun. I had a great time, and it was fun reminiscing about things. But so he made it up to me eventually, and so I don't really have any beef with Rich, but I can say that he makes some really weird, dumb decisions where I feel like there's a lot going on with him. And I know, he had the thing with his daughter and whatnot. And, I would never knock anybody for bending under the strain of something like that. I've had medical emergencies with 8th over the years. So I know the feeling. I've had to do the whole waiting in the waiting room thing. I know what that feels like. But, yeah, I don't know what's going on with him, and I'm pretty sure that he wouldn't talk to me about it if he was willing to talk about it, because I'm not big enough view wise to make it worth his while. See, Rich seems to hate Donald Trump. Yeah, well, he's a Democrat. I was hoping Ghost of Tsushima 2 would continue with Jin. Oh well. They're, subversing your expectations. First time I saw RTU was when he debated Blackbuster and he was trying to defend 3 kilobyte side. He had less subs then. Yeah, ironic to see how things between him and 3KB ended up, huh? I cannot believe his story of him claiming to be, I was tech savvy and I couldn't run. Yeah, I don't get that either. Do you have a Steam account? No, sir, I don't. It's either PSN or, Game Pass. That's all I got. You should pay on YouTube for the time being, but off YouTube like I did before is going to be a problem. Well, let me get to that since you keep bringing it up. So what happened was, like I said, Clean Frame donated money for me to review this game, Blood. I left the money in my PayPal account because I tend to not pull money out of the PayPal account until it gets to be a bigger amount, like $50 to $100, and then I pull it out into my bank account. So I had left it in there. A couple of nights ago, I get an email telling me that that after a lengthy review by their security department or whatever, that they had decided not to continue service on my PayPal account, that I was effectively banned from ever using PayPal. And the 25 or whatever that Clean Frame donated for me to get that game, I was not going to be available to me for 120 days. That after 120 days, I could withdraw it. And I tried to reach out to them. I tried to call them. I was getting nowhere. No one wanted to talk to me about it. I have no idea what it's about because I had nothing but not even my main YouTube. I had nothing but the Streamlabs account tied. Oh, shoot. You know what? I just realized I have the... Why am I so stupid? I just realized I screwed up there. Hold on a second. Let me fix that. Didn't realize I'd done that. Let me change that. Okay, hold on. I'm having to look around my microphone. Sorry. And there. All right, that fixes that. So now the link is back up there. So anyway, nothing. They didn't want to talk to me about what had happened. But the point being, all I had my PayPal tied to was my Streamlabs account. That's the only money that would go in there. When somebody would donate through Streamlabs, it would go directly to my PayPal, and then I would transfer it from once the amount got big enough, I would transfer the balance from PayPal to my bank. So, there was nothing fraudulent going on. I wasn't making purchases. I wasn't selling any products. No one was requesting refunds or anything like that. But after a lengthy review, you are a risk, and so we are not going to blah, blah, blah. No idea what it was about. No idea, and they wouldn't explain it. So you know what? Screw PayPal. I'm not going to use them anymore. So I spent all day looking around for alternative methods for money donated through Streamlab to make it to me. And, I have something set up now. It's not PayPal or any of those other type of services. So, going to be using that from now on. It's the same account. It just doesn't go to PayPal anymore. It goes somewhere else. So there you go. There you go. There may be a PayPal link on my main channel that I'll need to take off, but this link up here, the Streamlabs 7th level reviews, that's still valid. You can still donate to that through Streamlabs. So let's see. We should pay on YouTube for the time. Like, it's fine. You can, like I said, I've already fixed this. It's not going to PayPal anymore. It's going through it. I still have an in-between. I can't remember the name of it, but I set it up to where it just bounces the money directly into my bank account. My bank account is nowhere tied anywhere on Streamlabs, but through this intermediary app that I had to set up, anything that goes to Streamlabs is going to get bounced securely directly to my bank account. So I don't have to worry about that anymore. And I have all sorts of quadruple protection anti-fraud crap on my bank account, so I'm pretty set there. I monitor my bank account like a hawk, and thanks to the stuff that I have on my bank account through my bank does too. They watch everything that goes in and out like a hawk. Let's see. Ever stayed up all night to fix sleep schedule? Worst feeling, tired all day? I've had to do that, yes. It doesn't do me any good, though, because I'm lucky to get 4 hours of sleep a night anyway. And here's why. I don't have anything, full disclosure, I don't have anything wrong with my prostate or anything like that. Nothing, no issues with my kidneys or any of that. I have aside from the fact that I'm type 2 diabetic and I have these reoccurring stomach problems, my most recent set of lab work came back clean. My testosterone levels were good. My cholesterol was good. My blood sugar, barely, just like always, barely over the line, and so on and so forth. However, the medication that I have to take for my diabetes works by not allowing the liver to pass sugar into the bloodstream. Instead, it pushes sugar to the kidneys, and you pee the sugar out. And what that does is it makes it to where, as though you had an enlarged prostate, you have to pee more often during the day. And for me, that means about every 4 hours, I got to go take a full bladder piss. That's like a 25-second piss. I'm standing there. It's like the scene from Revenge of the Nerds 2, where Ogre's in the background and they keep looking at him because he's still peeing. That's what it's like every time I take a leak. And I have to do that every 4 hours. So I'll go to sleep, and then 4 hours later, I got to get up because my eyeballs are floating. And I may be able to get back to sleep, and I may not be able to get back to sleep. But I couldn't tell you the last time that I had a full 8 hours or even a full 6 hour long sleep. It's usually 4 hours, and then I got to go up. I got to get up to go take a leak, and then I might be able to fall back asleep. I might not. Let's see here. I'm playing Darksiders 2 Remastered. I wouldn't mind playing that because I have the re-release on PS4, and I know they just did a PS5 upgrade for it, but it's up in 8th's area, and 8th is playing it because 8th is like me. He won't just focus on one game. He bounces around. Thoughts on Telltale's The Walking Dead, since you didn't like the TV series? I didn't like the games either. Name your price, 7th. I'm willing to pay $1 billion. Probably like $100. I'd probably do it for $100. I can't explain to you how much I hated that season. I've never watched it again. Never watched it again. That's how boring it was to me. What's the rarest game in your collection? Panzer Dragoon Saga. The Solid Rev still no, he unblocked me. He has not explained to me how I got blocked, but he did unblock me, and he's actually liked a couple of my posts since. So I guess we're good. I don't know. He hasn't officially reached out and said anything to me about it. He just unblocked me and refollowed me. Rich is 5 steps above. I wouldn't go that far. A lot of what Boogie does is an act. Not all of it, but a lot of what he does is an act. I know this because I know what Boogie is like when he's not in front of a camera. He's not relevant on YouTube per se, except that, you know, through being on Lolcow Live. Lolcow Live is kind of, you know, brought him back into the limelight, such as it were, but for totally different reasons. The thing you have to understand about Boogie is he was never the Mr. Rogers of YouTube. That was an act just as much as some of the skeezier stuff that he's done is an act. Sly Cooper actors live stream and signing prints. Love those games. Nice. How is DSP not banned by PayPal, but you are? At least you'll get the money, but it shouldn't be that long. Yeah, well, like I said, PayPal is over with. I will never use PayPal again. I wouldn't recommend to any of you to use PayPal for anything because they can just up and decide to kill your channel and keep the money that's in there for no reason and not explain themselves at all. They're not a bank, so they don't have to follow the regulations of an actual bank. They can get away with this crap. So if you have an account, I suggest you close it and find a different way. Use Cash App, use Zella, Venmo, something other than PayPal. What's the longest you've stayed up without sleep? 3 days. I got that from my credit card processor for my business recently. Bankers are the worst. Did you like the movie 31? I don't think I've ever watched it. I watched that Lords of Salem, and Lords of Salem was so bad that I was afraid to watch 31 because I figured it'd be even worse. Reminds me of Hawk from Wing Commander Prophecy. Did you play it? No, I didn't. I've never been a big Wing Commander guy. I've seen someone on Rich's Instagram that said he's no longer a fan of his anymore, saying that he lost his daughter, and Rich replied, "Go F yourself." As far as I know, Rich still has his daughter. He has his daughter and he has 2 boys, as I understand it. But a Jimmy Dugan P. There you go. There you go. Or Adam Sandler's first comedy album, The Longest P. Is it cool if I ask a series of questions that will test your gaming prowess? Well, I have never claimed to be an expert or historian of gaming history. I just know what I know. So, you can ask me questions. Either I'll know it or I won't. My mother told me she's no longer a diabetic. I was so happy for her. I would like to get to that point eventually. Lolcow Live is manufactured and boring. Oh, I certainly think there are components to it that are scripted. Absolutely. One of them's always quitting. One of them's always sick with something and on the verge of death. There's always some kind of thing going on. Always something going on. But, yeah. So far we have 2 games that are paid for, which is that Blood and whatever the name of that other one is, the one where you're a pumpkin guy. Pumpkin Jack or whatever it was called. Something like that. I think it was Pumpkin Jack. So those are the 2 that we have thus far. If there's anything else that y'all want in the video, you can donate here. You can also hit the gray button with the $sign on it, but that account is still sitting at $70, and YouTube does not pay it out until it reaches $100, and the cutoff for that is tomorrow. So if $30 doesn't hit that by tomorrow, then I won't get a check this month from YouTube. That's how it works. Rich versus Keemstar, who's worse? Well, all Keemstar really does is he he sees drama out there and he reports on it and they point and laugh at it. I've never seen him like make a direct target out of somebody and just go after him and after him and after him and after him and after him. He'll talk about one thing and then he moves on to the next thing. He doesn't get obsessed with particular situations, which, because of the things that are going on with Rich, he seems to tend to do that. So, as of right now, I guess I would say Rich, even though Rich doesn't have the reach that Keemstar does. He doesn't have the audience size, which means he doesn't have the potential for evil, shall we say, that Keemstar has. So that's a bit of a toss-up. Which platform would you plan on getting Space Marine on? PS5. PS5. Because I don't have Steam, and I'm not going to get it on Series X. All I buy on Series X are little $10 and $15 physical games. I don't buy new games on Series X at all. But yeah, Space Marine 2, PS5, and then we'll see how it runs on the PS5 Pro when the Pro shows up. These questions are opinion based, no right or wrong. Okay, I don't care. Go ahead. Thought on Super Mario Land 2. I don't know that I ever played Super Mario Land 2. I remember playing Super Mario Land 1 quite a bit. Do you have gamer sight, i.e. can tell the difference between 1080p 4K and 30 frames per second, 60 frames per second? I don't know so much that I could tell the difference between 1080p and 4K because I always have these upscaling TVs that makes it kind of harder to tell, but I can absolutely tell the difference visually between 30 frames per second and 60. 30 frames per second looks like you're watching a movie. 60 frames per second looks live, like you're watching live news or watching a soap opera from the 70s. That's the difference. Like watching season 1 of Red Dwarf versus season 12 of Red Dwarf. Season 1 looks 60 frames per second because it was shot live video in front of a live studio audience. And season 12 was also filmed live, but it's filmed with new digital cameras at 30 frames. That's the difference. I can see it. You put a game in front of me and I can tell you instantly whether it's 30 frames or 60 frames. I can see that. I'm type 2 and all I have to say is never take Ozempic. That crap screwed up the vision in my right eye. Really? My doctor keeps wanting me to get on it, saying that I would lose weight a lot faster. You're saying it messed up the vision in your right eye? How did that happen? He gets visibly mad at people who don't like how starts phony feuds and script things and string viewers along for drama. Yeah. It was the person who commented on Rich's Instagram. That video said lost his daughter. And no, I wasn't talking about Rich's. Oh, okay. Hi, Ultra Steel. How's it going? I don't hate Keem or anything, but the man is a full-fledged businessman. Yes, he is. Everything that comes out of Keem's mouth, every step that he takes, it's about getting that green. He's about the money. Nothing wrong with that, so long as he stays above board with it. Have I ever watched Japanese? Lord, yes. Ringu and Ju-on and House or Haozu. I've watched, I can't remember how it's pronounced, but the one that's about spirals, and Tetsuo the Iron Man. I've seen a ton of Japanese horror going all the way back to the 60s. So, yes. I wouldn't call myself a connoisseur or an expert about it, but I've watched my fair share, yes. Wow, a bunch of my audience dropped off. I was up at over 30, and now I'm down to 16. Nobody wanted to hear about PayPal drama, I guess. I used to hate Keemstar back in the day, not so much. I don't really have any feeling about him one way or the other. I've never met him in person. I've met Boogie in person several times. I've never met Wings in person. And I've never really had any interaction with Keemstar. I might have replied to a tweet once or twice, but I've never had any direct interaction with him. Thumb up the stream. Yes, if you're enjoying the show, give it a thumbs up. My channel is too far gone for it to really help me, but at least lets me know whether you guys like it or not. What are the best PS2 games that you would consider hidden gems? I'll tell you one that I only recently discovered. For obvious reasons, I'm an adult. Scooby-Doo and the 100 Nights of Frights, I think is the name of it. There were multiple Scooby-Doo games made for PS2, but this one is special because it's basically a 3D Metroidvania starring Scooby-Doo. You're in this big castle. Maybe it's called Castle of 100 Frights. All I know is it's got 100 Frights in the title. It was like the second Scooby-Doo game on PS2. I have the first one that's like a point-and-click type of thing. I think. I don't even remember now. But this one, the 100 Nights of Frights, it's like a 3D Metroidvania. You're trapped in this castle, and you got to go here to earn this ability so that you can go here and get this key, then come back over here and do... It's a Metroidvania. And it's surprisingly good from every review that I've read. So now I really want that game, but of course, I can't just go buy a retro game every time I want one. But it is one of the ones that I'm looking out for PS2. And if I had the money to go to Retropalooza this year, would be one of the games I'd be looking for at Retropalooza. But I don't have the money to go. And again, I'm not big enough of a YouTuber to be paid to be a guest there. So I'm staying home this year, sadly. I would love to be there because they're going to have a wrestling ring set up there. 8-Bit Eric is going to be wrestling Pixel Dan. Shady J is going to be having a boxing match with his brother Tim. I would love to be there and see that, but I can't afford the hotel and everything. I got too much going on. It is what it is. Maybe next year when I've gotten more of my bills paid off. I think only 15% of people can tell the difference between higher resolutions. Maybe. I don't know. I can. Question 2. Would you rather have 10% more shield than your health every time you pick up a shield, or flat out just have triple times the health? I'd rather have more health. In most games where you have a shield, a lot of times I don't even pay attention to how much shield I have left. I just plow through. So I'd rather just have more health bar. Thoughts on the game Vanquish? I never really got into it. It felt overly busy, and a lot of the time something felt weird about the aiming in it, and maybe that was because I was playing the PS3 version at the time. I don't know. I haven't gone back to it, and I know it was re-released on PS4. I haven't gone back to it. Did you? I don't think I even have it. I do have where they re-released Bayonetta on PS4, I think. Maybe that had Vanquish on it too. I don't know. I'll have to go back and check. 7th, did you ever like Silent Hill back on PS1? I had it. I wouldn't say that I liked it because, again, I wasn't really into horror games. I wasn't into survival horror games. Your viewership dropped. It might have been because I came into your stream. It's all my fault. No. Yeah, you're probably right. It probably is all you, Ultra Steel. Cleveland Guardians versus New York Yankees is on tonight, so I think people are dropping to see that. Maybe. Although, to be honest with you, most of my fan base don't really strike me as sports guys, but I could be wrong. Let's see here. I had interaction with Keem yesterday. Oh, $5 Canadian from Living Legend. Okay, you get the dollar bill. There you go. From Living Legend, thoughts on Shadow of a Ninja Reborn, Marsupilami Hob Adventure, Nico DeRico, which released recently. Nico DeRico has strong Crash 4 Tropical Freeze vibes. I have not played any of those. I only own one of those. I own the physical of Shadow of the Ninja Reborn, but I have not played it yet. It's sitting back there on that shelf right now. Marsupilami Hob Adventure I have not played and do not own. Nico DeRico I have not played and do not own. If it ends up having a physical release on PS5, I'll get it. But otherwise, I've been trying to steer away from well, I've been trying to steer away from buying digital versions of things if I can avoid it. I only buy digital if there is no physical release. So, eye laser treatment. Ozempic. You took Ozempic and that caused you to have eye laser treat. I'm not sure I follow you, Vengeful. Let's see here. It had Vanquish on the same disc. Well, then I guess I could try it again. I just haven't gotten around to it. I had an interaction with Keemstar yesterday. He snapped at me on Twitter for me calling him a drama hound and accusing him of orchestrating fake drama, but I respect him for not blocking me. Did you like the Mass Effect games? Yes, I did. Although, that being said, I never finished Mass Effect 3. Magic powers. Would you rather have low health but have health regeneration or high health and high defense? I'd rather have low health and health regeneration. Let's see here. Hey, 7th, in that Chuck E. Cheese movie that you're still going on about, what did you think of that Zoom gas song? That was really something, wasn't it? I believe I've blocked it out, sir. I believe I've blocked it out at this point. You should have asked me about that after I'd most recently watched it. Now I barely even recall what you're talking about because it was that painful. It's basically choosing between hard difficulty and easy difficulty. I like to think you're choosing between a battle-tarnished Wolverine or a buffed Colossus. Okay. Hey, 7th, I think you'll make a great president. You should run. I don't have any experience for that. No one would vote for me. By the way, I can't help but notice that there's no $100 that's hit my Streamlabs. So you must have not wanted me to watch that season 2 over again that bad, huh, Shadow Deist? Hey, 7th, Alan Wake 2 finally comes out physical next week. I'm thinking of snagging the PS5 version. That might totally, absolutely isn't something that might be in 8th's stocking for Christmas this year. 7th, I know you made a DBTS on the original Modern Warfare 3, but I'm curious of what you thought of the backlash of the remake. I didn't think much of it because I didn't play it. I didn't play it because I didn't like the original, so I knew I wasn't going to like the new one. Question 4. Do you try to complete every game you play by either just seeing the credits by beating the final boss, or do you 100%? Depends on the game. Depends on the game. Some games I like enough to where I want to 100% it. Some games, I just like it enough to see the end of the story, and that's it. It's been a while since I've wanted a 100% completion. And the most recent time was Astrobot, and I'm so old now, and my hands are getting so bad that I had to have my son to help me do it. So I probably won't be chasing plats anymore because of that, unless it's something like an RPG that it doesn't matter how much my hands hurt, that I can still play it. So, do you think we'll see the Mass Effect games again? Oh, I'm sure they'll bring it back. Whether it'll be any good or not is another question. There are absolutely no redeeming qualities to that Chuck E. Cheese movie, Nicholas. It looks like something somebody filmed with a high-8 camcorder. It's awful. The special effects in it, they look like PS1 graphics. It's garbage. It's just garbage. I do want you to watch Season 2. I'll donate $100 for you to watch it at some point, trust me. Okay. Let me know when Elvis gets here. 7th, do you recall the last time you got lots of candy during Halloween as a kid? Well, during my teenage years, up until when I stopped, which I think I stopped around 13 or 14, if I remember right. You got to remember, that's a long time ago, so I can't remember exactly when I quit, but I know it was before I got my driver's license. What I would do is I always had 2 costumes set up. So I'd go the whole neighborhood in one costume, go back to my house, grab another bag, change costumes, and I'd go around the neighborhood again. Because I could make it through the neighborhood fast. So I would get 2 full runs every year. and I got my fair share of candy. It's probably part of the reason why I'm in this. No, it's not. I didn't start having weight problems until well after I was married. Let's see here. I try to be a completionist on every game, but I like to say I don't play bad games. Well, I can't say that. I've played my fair share of crap. Chuck E. Cheese movie didn't possess enough magic powers. You got that right. What is your favorite RPG archetype? Rogues over hoes is my motto. Favorite RPG archetype? You know the guy in Final Fantasy 12? I can't remember the character's name now, but he was kind of like, he acted like he was kind of a British aristocratic type that was above it all, but he was the Han Solo character. He was the scoundrel, the pirate guy, who was also great with a sword and a gun, and had his Chewbacca-esque sidekick. In this case, his sidekick was like a bunny woman character. I can't remember the name of the race. Those kind of characters. The dashing rogue is the guy that I like. That's my favorite character type because they tend to have the funniest lines. Seventh, don't test. I'll donate $500 for you to watch the whole show. Sure you will. Sure. Just think, Shadow Deist, I've never seen Negan outside of YouTube clips. Do you think Arkham Origins deserves a remaster? I never finished it. I think it was good. I think the whole Black Mask is really the Joker thing was stupid. But other than that, sure, it deserves a remaster. Why not? That's a smart move, Seventh. You must have had wagons of candy back in your childhood. My parents didn't care. Once I got to the point where, they didn't think anything would happen to me walking around by myself in the neighborhood, they stopped caring. I'd leave around 6 in the afternoon, and I wouldn't come back home fully. I'd run into the basement to drop off candy and change costume. But other than that, no. I was out there by myself all night. And sometimes I'd come straight home, and sometimes I'd go over to a friend's house, and because they'd be having a little Halloween party or whatever, and then I'd come home. That Elvis comment made me laugh. You didn't like Negan from the YouTube clips? Oh, all I'm saying is people that love that show are always bragging about Negan. I haven't seen Negan because I never got that far. But perhaps I could get that far. If you put your money where your mouth is, Shadow Deist. First time in a long time. More like 2 months. Hi, Soul Drift. How's it going? Seventh, did you enjoy carving pumpkins, and did Eighth ever help you with that later in life? I never carved pumpkins. We never did that. We had plastic light-up pumpkins that would be hooked up to the outdoor electrical outlet on the front porch. That's all we had. We never carved real pumpkins. And I can understand why, because, all they do is just sit there and rot, and eventually, they start to collapse and stink. And, the only time I ever did anything like that was I went to Hobby Lobby and got one of those fake carving pumpkins. I don't know what they're made out of, but you buy a design and you draw the template onto it, and then you carve it out with this little knife that comes with the kit. And so I had one of these fake pumpkins about yay big, and I carved a design of a haunted house on it. It took me several days to finish it because there's this itty bitty little teeny knife that looks like a tiny ass saw, and you have to go like this. It took forever. Seventh, your opinion on A Quiet Place, the road ahead for PS5. Haven't played it, don't like the movies, so doubt I ever will. And keep in mind, on top of that, any questions about VR-related horror games, I'm not going to be able to answer because I don't get to use VR. It all stays up in 8th room. Everybody says Balthier and Fran were the true protagonists of Final Fantasy XII because the other true protagonists suck so bad. I just thought they had the best lines. You know? I'd catch more of these, but time is crazy. I know how it can be. I know how it can be. Question 6. What's your favorite video game trope and mechanic? For example, I like it when my healer evolves their basic heal to heal status effects. I wouldn't call this a trope, but my favorite thing about classic JRPGs was grinding and doing all the side quests so that when I'd walk into these boss battles, I was walking in just a freaking beast and I'd decimate these bosses like it was nothing. That was my favorite thing, was getting OP. I loved getting OP in JRPGs. And then they started, like Final Fantasy 13 where they put a cap on it where you could only get so powerful, Stupid. I'm listening to this while playing Street Fighter 6. Remember when you used to never wear the shades in some of your videos? No, I've always had to wear the shades. I've had videos where I took them off, but I always had to take migraine medicine to make sure that didn't affect anything. I've always worn them in every 7th cast, and in 99% of the videos that I've ever made, I wore the shades. So not sure where you're going there, 7th DS, because that's not true. 7th, I love your newest video. It was funny. Sarge, yes. I have to not wear the shades with Sarge because that's part of his character, is that he isn't afflicted with the same problem I have. So I have to film Sarge videos in chunks. I'll film a little bit of it, and then I have to go put my shades on and rest. Then I film a little bit more of it, and then I have to put my shades on and rest. And anyone who's been to Retropalooza and has seen me at Retropalooza can tell you that I wear these the whole time because I can't take the brightness. I just can't take it. Can't handle it. The only exception to that was when I appeared as Sarge in a scene that was filmed at a Retropalooza. That didn't end up being used, by the way. Why didn't you like A Quiet Place? I just didn't like it. Never mind the fact that it spawned a bunch of similar things. Horror movies where you can't breathe. Horror movies where you can't hear. Horror movies where you can't see. No, thank you. It's stupid. Which are better, plastic pumpkins or fake Christmas trees? I like fake Christmas trees. And I like to put them up and then leave them up until March. Not sure you answered my question, but you've ever seen as... Yes, I answered that. What is with you, video game lover? I listed off an entire list of Japanese horror movies that I'd watched. I'm not going to repeat it now. You want to find out what movies I mentioned? You're going to have to watch the replay. That's what you get for not paying attention. 7th, are there any famous historical places that are allegedly haunted in Texas? Oh, lots. I haven't had an opportunity to go. But there's haunted locations all over Texas. Maybe one day we'll go do that. One thing I do want to do, there is an actual room-for-room recreation of the Munsters house here in Texas that you can go to and walk around in. Right down to it having the stairs that lift up and Spot the Dragon is under the stairs. All of it. It's a room-for-room remake of the Munsters Mansion that you can go tour. I so want to go do that. But I just haven't had the opportunity to do it. Where is that music coming from? Is that like an ice cream truck? Like the snow cone man? Isn't it a little late in the year for that, Texas? Good God. 7th, I finally saw Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. It was okay. The Firemaster character made me laugh. Did you find the actor fun? The actor was funny. I found the character stupid. But do you notice what I mean when I say that movie is like just a 2-hour episode of the real Ghostbusters? That's what it feels like. Last question. Sniper rifles versus RPGs. I'm not going to answer that one in the stint of gaming. I would answer that one in the stint of practicality. I would rather have a sniper rifle and be able to pick off a person that's coming after me from a mile away than to even have to get close enough to where I could use an RPG. The only time I remember you did not have them on is pretending to play MLD. Right, I'd take them off to play MLD, and there might have been a couple of other instances where I was playing some other character like Barth. When I played Barth in the Street Fighter 5 review, I didn't have my glasses on for him. It's usually when I was playing a character that I wouldn't have them on, which was only filmed like 30, 40 seconds at a time for the most part. Is Shudder a Thai movie? I don't remember. I've only seen the American version of Shudder. Was the Christmas Story sequel good? No. Well, it depends on the one you're talking about. There was a Christmas Story 2 that didn't star the original Ralphie, and then there was that one that came out a couple of years ago that did star Ralphie. That one I kind of liked. It's not going to be added to my rotation of Christmas movies, but I liked it. But I will tell you what's been added to my Halloween rotation of Christmas movies, and that's Hoobie Halloween with Adam Sandler on Netflix. I don't care what anyone says. I love that movie. It's corny as hell, and it makes me laugh every time I watch it. And I now watch it every October. And I will probably watch it again before Halloween night. I've already watched it like a week or two ago, and I'll probably watch it again because I just really like it, and I wish Adam Sandler would make more of them. That's what I'm trying to do now. Well, good. What is the best WrestleMania in your opinion? The one where Austin beat Shawn Michaels for the belt with Mike Tyson as the ref. Have you been to the Texas State Fair? No. I don't like going to the fair because it's full of carnies. And it's always full of those barely held together with tape carnival rides, and I'm always afraid I'm going to witness somebody's grisly demise going to fairs, so I don't go to the fair. Sweet Tooth is nearby. Okay. I think there is a place that is haunted in Texas that's in hill country where some German settlers were massacred during the Civil War for being pro-Union. I don't know. I don't like going to the hill country. It messes with my vertigo. I had to do some driving in hill country to pick up the U-Haul truck that I used to move here. So I had to drive from Austin all the way down into like 60 miles down into the hill country to pick up the stupid U-Haul truck so my friend could drive it back. And I'm driving up and down these winding hills, which made me think about driving on Lookout Mountain in Chattanooga, which used to not cause me any problems at all. But now all of a sudden, if I'm driving like on really high, steep inclines and stuff like that, I get vertigo, which is not a safe thing to have when you're driving. Don't know what causes it. Don't know. 7th, what's your dream video that you'd like to make but haven't got a chance to make it? Touring Japan. Touring Japan is the video I'd love to make that I'll never get to make. 7th, did you beat Resistance 3? Hell yeah, I beat Resistance 3. Did you ever see Terrifier 3? No, we haven't seen Terrifier 3. We'll just end up watching it on Amazon because 8th doesn't want to see it in the theater. Collected G. Hey, what's up, 7th? Thoughts on Castlevania Lords of Shadow? I liked those games. I didn't like the second one too much. The first one was pretty good. Of course, it doesn't feel like Castlevania. It feels like Devil May Cry, but yeah, I get you, 7th. Ghostbusters just felt like a 2-hour episode of Real Ghostbusters with its silliness. I enjoyed seeing Venkman, Ray, Winston, and Janine again. Yeah, the only way that it wasn't like Real Ghostbusters is that, I mean, they kind of hinted at it. You know, Slimer was living with them in the house, but he wasn't like their friend or buddy or anything. Maybe they're leaning towards that. And also, they didn't give him a high-pitched voice. He still had his deep voice. So that's the one thing that kept it from being just like an episode of Real Ghostbusters. 7th, I watched The Exorcist last night. It's one of the greatest horror movies. When did you first see it? I saw the edited for TV version when I was maybe 7. If that was the first time you've watched it, Smith, I would now plead with you to skip Exorcist 2 and go straight to Exorcist 3, because Exorcist 3 is actually my favorite of the series, because it's basically Exorcist meets Silence of the Lambs, and I love it. Before Silence of the Lambs existed, I might add. Seventh, why not do a watch party of Hoobie Halloween? Because I don't know how to do it, Ultra Steel. That was 14. What was 14? What was 14? I don't even know what you're replying to. It was nice picking at your gamer brain. Okay. Thoughts on Art the Clown? I think he's become one of the more recent... I love Art the Clown. I'd love to have a McFarlane action figure of Art the Clown, but there isn't one. Thoughts on Dead Rising? Never got into it. Didn't like them. Didn't like the gameplay. Is there a video you have made that you now hate and regret making? No. I have no regrets on anything that I've posted on YouTube, ever. Interesting hill country. Texas was one of the parts of the South during the Civil War that was pro-Union, just like East Tennessee. What was the worst year of your life? For me, it was 2022 when I went to the hospital and lost my ability to walk for 6 months. Oh, probably 2009 when I got laid off, kicked my ex-wife out, was unemployed, lost my car, was on the verge of losing the house. That was a bad year. That was a bad year. I don't even consider the year when I was a kid that I had leukemia as bad as that year. Oh, by the way, Two hours remaining. 2 hours remaining. For some reason, my little donation bar is not updating at all now. Neither stuff that's being super chatted nor stuff that's being tipped is updating the bar. I don't know why that is. I'll have to sit down and look at it and figure out why it's not working. I don't know. Every time I turn around, something in OBS has stopped working, and it pisses me off. Maybe it's the fact that I disabled all the PayPal crap in OBS. I don't know. But anyway, $10 have been donated, so we're $40 away from extending the show by an hour. Let's see here. Castlevania Lords of Shadow felt like God of War. Well, to me, it felt like Devil May Cry. To each their own. I was not a fan of Lords of Shadow 1, so I can imagine Lords of Shadow 2 would be more painful. It's not as good. I've seen Exorcist 3, it's so good. Exorcist 2 was embarrassing. Yes. Bye, video game lover. WrestleMania is what I meant when I said 14. Ah, okay. What are the odds of Nintendo adding achievement system? Unlikely. They've had multiple chances to do it and have not. Do you think if the next Switch ends up flipping, Nintendo will go third party? I think you meant flopping. I don't think it'll flop, though. 7th, can't remember if you answered this, but what are your thoughts on the Midnight Walk trailer shown at the last Sony's State of Play? I like the dark Tim Burton tone it has. I don't know that I remember that one. I don't know if I remember that one. I remember you did a video of the town you lived in North Carolina in 2010 and talked about that. Oh, is that the one where I was talking about the state of the neighborhood and how there are a lot of people have been evicted, so there was a bunch of empty houses and people's houses getting broken into, and the economy was crap. Yeah, that happened while I was still unemployed when I made that video. I ended up taking that video down because I had gotten permission to use the music in that video, and then they decided to rescind that permission, and so they copyright struck it, and so I just deleted it rather than have to fool with it. Did you like the remake of Stephen King's It? I liked part 1, didn't care for part 2. How much of Resident Evil have you tried? I've played 1, 2, Code Veronica, and 4. And a little bit of 5. No, I didn't watch the recent Xbox show. Have you played Costume Quest or see? I've 100%ed Costume Quest. I played a little bit of the sequel, but I don't think I ever finished it, if I remember right. Would you be in favor of Sony making their own amusement park? Think of all the rides based on their IP. I don't think they'd be willing to, A, invest that kind of money, and B, spend the kind of money it would take to keep it up and operational. Did you like the Onimusha games? I didn't like the first one. Once they stopped playing like Resident Evil and started playing more like Devil May Cry, I liked them more then. I already talked about ReviewTech deleting his channel. I think it's a stupid move. It was called A Message to Obama. Yeah, probably. Very thirsty tonight, guys. Sorry about that. Do you have a favorite video you've made? Personally, I like the God of War 3 review. I had fun with the skits that I did for the Street Fighter 5. I also had fun doing the Black Ops 3 review, although 8th hated doing that review. He did not have fun making that video. But I had fun making it. So I've got a number of ones that I really like. I have fond memories related to the DBTS for the Xbox One because I made over $1,500 off that video, enough to take my family at the time on a little mini vacation to Myrtle Beach. So yeah. Seen many people in recent years give Tim Burton's Batman Returns respect. I think it was first released in theaters. A lot of critics said it was too dark. A lot of people didn't like it. My dad actually fell asleep when we went to see Batman Returns because so much of it was in the dark that my dad was like, you sit if he sits in a dark room without any light, he would fall asleep. And that movie was, so much of it was at nighttime that he just fell asleep in the movie. I kept having to elbow him because he snores. I can tell you that it had a lot of violence and blood and gory stuff in it that wasn't in the original film. And they really pissed off McDonald's because McDonald's had these Batman Returns Happy Meals, these Happy Meal toys. And so parents were taking, they were getting these Happy Meals and then taking their kids to see Batman thinking it'd be like the first one. And then you have the penguin biting a guy's nose off and eating raw fish with the fish's guts hanging out and, people getting blown up and stuff and set on fire and all this kind of thing. And so, yeah, it pissed some parents off. That's why Tim became the producer instead of a director, and they brought in Joel Schumacher, who basically turned the last two of that series into episodes of the Batman TV show from the 60s. Do you like Samurai Warriors and Dynasty Warriors? Not really. I do like some of the themed Muso games they've put out. I like Berserk and the Band of the Hawk quite a bit. And I liked the Gundam ones that were made. Dynasty Gundam Warriors or whatever the hell it was called. I liked those. I liked the ones the Musos that were made from Persona and Legend of Zelda. I like the themed ones, but the original series, not so much, because I'm not big up on Chinese or Japanese history. So I remember the video you made thanking for it while on vacation. Yeah, I was standing out on my hotel balcony filming the beach. I just prefer the first one made by Burton in '89, but the last two of that franchise were not so good. Kids loved them. I didn't care for it. I actually saw both of those, Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, at the theater. Good God. So what is Review Tech doing now? Just streaming? Kind of like me, really. I make a video every now and again, but then again, I'm not trying to make a living off this stuff. In my opinion, the Greek God of War games were better. God of War 3 is not only my top God of War game, but one of my favorite games of all time. It was a monumental technical achievement for its time. Yes, it was. And I kind of agree with you. You know, these new games, you know, they feel like they've really neutered Kratos. And yes, he has more dimensions to his character and everything, but I don't know. You know, I'm a father, and I find it kind of I think his new one is RTU Streams, and all he does is stream on it. 7th, did you like Red Dead Redemption 1? Yes. Didn't like Red Dead Redemption 2, but I liked Red Dead Redemption 1. And, you know, both of them have kind of subpar gameplay, but I've just come to expect that from Rockstar. You know, people are always bragging about their games, but in my opinion, their game mechanics are always like a generation behind everybody else. Like, none of the gameplay in Red Dead Redemption 2, Grand Theft Auto 5 felt anywhere near as good as the gunplay in any given Uncharted game. It didn't feel as good, didn't work as well. And that's what I mean when I say that the gameplay-wise, they always feel a generation behind everybody else. The only thing, let's be honest, the only thing that really sells Rockstar games, it's not the graphics, it's not the gameplay, it's the outrageousness and the characters and the story. That's what people play them for. And with Grand Theft Auto, it's all about what's the most obnoxious thing that I can do in this game, especially in the online, the multiplayer. What's your thoughts on Epic Mickey Rebrushed? I'm about halfway through it, and I like it. I like it a lot. I mean, no, it's not as good as some other 3D platformers, but it's a vast improvement over the Wii version. It still has some issues with the camera, I'm sad to say, but not as bad as the Wii version did. They should do a Warriors franchise about Korea when it had multiple kingdoms. 7th, would you be in favor of Sony? I already answered that. Why are you spamming questions, Ultra Steel? That's like the third time you've asked that question. I already answered it. Don't get on my nerves today, man. I'm not in the mood. I've had a bad week. Why didn't you like Red Dead Redemption 2? Because its story sucked. Its story sucked. The second time that one of their heist ideas failed, every single person in that gang should have taken the leader and hung him from a tree, or filled him full of lead. But they keep going after listening to what he's telling them and going after bad heist after bad heist after bad heist. Same thing happens. Something gets screwed up. It all goes wrong. They barely get out alive. They don't make any money off of it. And so it's just repeating that same cycle through damn near the whole game. And it's just crappy writing. What happened with ReviewTechUSA? He flipped his shit. That's what happened. What did you think when people used to clickbait GTA 6 even before GTA 6 was announced? I don't pay attention to that stuff. Do you think they should add Mickey Mouse to Mario Kart? Well, Disney had their own Mario Kart game on the Dreamcast and the PS1. I don't know if it's any good, though. I don't have it. Oh, yeah, for sure. The controls on the Wii version were horrible. You're not wrong. Seventh, I respectfully disagree. I think Red Dead Redemption 2 is one of the greatest games of all time. I don't give a crap what you think, Nicholas. I made a video about why the game sucked, and you're welcome to go watch it. Why did you have a bad week? PayPal stuff and work-related stuff and just a bunch of crap. And I've had some health-related issues this week that kind of knocked me back a little bit. So it just hasn't been a good week. Crash and Mark. Ultra Steel. What the hell? Oh, God. I'm fighting hard not to say it. I'm fighting hard not to say it. I'm trying to be good. You're pressing my buttons, son. And I don't get triggered by nothing. But you're going to make Old School 7th come out if you don't stop. Yes, it does suck, Shadow Deist. Have you tried the speedrun level on Astrobot? Probably not. I played everything. I played all the levels required to get the plat, and the 3 or 4 that I couldn't do on my own because of my hands, I had 8th do. I don't think I did anything that was built specifically as a speed run. I don't think. I don't remember. I'm not going to block him, but when he starts doing this stuff where, I tell him to drop something and he just keeps repeating it, it starts to make me think that he's on the spectrum. I'm just saying. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm a one strike and you're out kind of guy. So I'm already, being nicer than I normally would be. But one of the things that I cannot stand, and it's not a matter of being triggered, because I don't even believe in being triggered, but one thing that gets on my nerves, not grinding my gears or under my skin, but annoys me, is when someone claims to love this show, but doesn't pay attention when I answer a question, so they keep asking the same question over and over again that I already answered. Because what that proves is that you clearly don't like the show as much as you claim you do, because you're not listening to it. Don't make me repeat myself. I'm going on 50. I have a finite amount of life left. Life is too precious for me to waste it repeating answers because you weren't paying attention. Period. That goes for everybody. Don't make me repeat myself. Did you ever like Mortal Kombat? Yes. I'm not a big fighting game guy, but I did draw a certain amount of fun from trolling my friends with Scorpion, because they'd get all excited and up about themselves with their skills, and then I'd go and mop the floor with them, knowing the 3 moves that I knew for Scorpion. So, I wasn't in any way good at the game, but I could beat all my friends with Scorpion just from spamming shit. What are your thoughts on Yuji Horii making fun of the censorship in the Dragon Quest III remake? Well, now they're saying that it was a mistranslation, that he didn't really say what he said. I don't believe that. I think he said what he meant to say, and I don't disagree with what he said. Who's the biggest Rain Man in chat? I have no idea. Ultra Steel is still posting about the stupid Sony theme park thing, but he's replying to other people thinking that allows him to get away with it. Don't act like I can't see what you're doing, son. That's strike 2. Keep trying, son. Let's see what happens at strike 3. Try me. Try me. Thoughts on The Last Faith? I haven't gotten to play it yet. I've been waiting for a physical release of it. Stryker's my favorite character. I wish they'd do more with him. Did you like playing as Sub-Zero? I only played with Scorpion. Scorpion was the only one I played with. My bad, 7th. Yeah, you're goddamn right you're bad. Thoughts on Art the Clown beating Joker 2 at the box office? Well deserved. Well deserved. I mean, I love Terrifier 1 and 2. I'm assuming that I'll love 3, but, you know, I have to wait until it's available on home video to watch it, because 8th ain't about watch it in the theater, so is what it is. It is what it is. Meanwhile, I will repeat myself for people that weren't in here when I started. It is my intention before Halloween night to release one big, massive 7th Halloween video that has multiple horror/Halloween themed games reviewed. So far, 2 donations have been made for me to review 2 games. One of them is a game called, look, I'm flipping the bird. One of them is a game, I can't even remember the name of it now. There's Pumpkin Jack, and then there was the other one that's Bled or Blood or BLUD. It's a crappy piece of crap game that Clean Frame paid for $25 for me to buy. That I ended up having to buy with my own money because PayPal froze my account out. But I have those 2 games so far. That's not enough to fill up the whole video. So if there's any games that y'all want to be added to that video for Halloween, donation buttons up there, or the gray button with the $sign on it, although I won't get, I don't get all of that. I get 70% of that. But up there. Someone was asking about Space Marines 2. That's a $70 game, and we're still $40 away from extending the chat by another hour. So up there. Anyway, y'all will determine how good that video or not good that video is going to be. Nicholas 7th predicted that last stream. Yes, I did. Did you watch Smile 2? No, I did not watch Smile 2. I haven't been to the theater. I'm trying to save my money. Trying. Not succeeding, but I'm trying. That doesn't matter, Ultra Steel. If you were what matters is that I answered the question and you kept posting it. Even after I said something about the fact that I already answered it, you still kept posting it, including posting questions related to it to other people. Don't bullshit me, son. That's strike 2.5. Don't make excuses for shitty behavior. Have you played the classic Doom games after the August update? They basically gave everyone who already bought Doom Classic Collection a free remaster. I don't know. How, Ultra Steel, how questions appear in the chat doesn't block your ears from hearing me say the response, is the point. I gave an answer. You kept asking. Well after I had already vocally answered it. Did you like Tormented Souls or Signalis? Now post about it one more time, son. I goddamn dare you. Post about it one more time. Try me, son. Just because you sent me a donation doesn't mean that gives you license to do stupid shit in the chat. Post one more comment about it. See what happens. Did you like Tormented Souls or Signalis? I don't know that I've played either one of those. Yes, I already set up an alternative to PayPal, so this works. This works. It's just for whatever reason now, what I did to change it makes it to where the bar doesn't update now. It doesn't update when somebody donates. I'll have to figure out why and fix that later. I ain't fooling with it tonight. I'm already in bad enough as a mood, of a mood as it is. 7th, did you think Art the Clown versus Pennywise would work like Freddy versus Jason? I don't know, because we haven't really been given an idea of the extent to Art's power, as it were. You know, Pennywise can turn into anything and make all sorts of crazy shit happen. Art just likes to carve people up. So, you know, we don't really know what the extent or limit of his stuff is. Have you played the physical copy of Fox and Forest? It's a throw. No. I think I have a digital copy of it. I know you said you didn't care for the penguin element. It's nothing special, but it's got a nice suspense to it, which is why I recommend it. I may eventually get around to watching it. 7th, I know you said you're not into stealth games. What do you think of the Metal Gear Solid games? I don't think much of them because I'm not into stealth games. In short, none of it was your fault. It was all my... Do you remember 8th's final trick or treat? No, because he went with friends. He didn't go with me. Who should Ash from Evil Dead fight? Anybody. Jason, Freddy, Pinhead, anybody. In fact, that was going to happen at one point. At one point, they were going to do a Freddy versus Jason versus Ash, but it fell through because they couldn't come up with a way, a happy ending for that. You know, Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi were happy with, because, you know, Ash never loses. You know, he gets his ass kicked, but he always wins in the end, and he always kills the bad guy. And I mean, Freddy and Jason have died multiple times before, but for some reason, they didn't want Ash killing Freddy or Jason, so it fell apart. Ash did fight them in the comics. I haven't read the comics. What is the scariest movie villain in your opinion? I don't know. I don't know, because I'm so desensitized to horror at this point that, you know, I don't get scared at horror movies anymore. I mean, when I was 10 years old, I thought it was Freddy. But then again, I'd only seen one Nightmare movie at that point, and that was the first one. The remake of Nightmare on Elm Street is subpar, yes. I love Jackie Earle Haley. He'd made a crappy Freddy. I'm sorry, he just did. Terrible Freddy. Now, I didn't want to be an asshole tonight, but this is not the first time that this has happened with Dude. You know, there's been multiple instances where he has not let something go in a spectrum-y way, and then when I've said something to him about it, made a bunch of lame excuses for it. And so it's not like this is his first rodeo with bugging me with stupid crap like this. And that's why I went ahead and just kind of let him have it tonight. It came this close. I had my finger on the band hammer. It's this close. I don't put up with that crap, man. I don't put up with it. Go spam somebody else's chat. Don't spam mine. Don't ask the same question over and over. Don't obsess over me supposedly missing a question. When half the time the people that are saying that, it's something that I answered and they just weren't listening to what I said. Like him. That's going to be irritating me all night now. So I try to be nice to that kid. I try to be nice to him. Evil Dead Fistful of Boomstick is a good game. I think my favorite was Evil Dead. Was it Evil Dead Revelations? I think that was my favorite Evil Dead game. No, I didn't block him. Believe it or not, it's actually rare for me to block people. I don't do it very often. But he was getting close. And it's not like I'm the only one, okay? He has gotten on 8th's nerves before. When 8th has been in the chat monitoring it, he's gotten on 8th's nerves too, doing this kind of stuff. It's not like I don't appreciate, that he donated to the stream. I do appreciate it, but sometimes he tests my patience. And I'm not trying to insult him, but this is a good example of why I could never be a special needs teacher. That's all I'm going to say. Thoughts on the first Halloween movie from 2018? I liked the first one okay, even though it was just a rehash, really. It was a Member Berries movie. The second and third one were god-awful. Are you stress drinking the water? Well, I quit vaping. Normally, after having to tell off someone like that I didn't really want to tell off but felt that I had to, I would have taken a nice long drag of my vape. But I quit vaping. So now I take a sip of water. The blood bed explosion scene was so crazy the first time I saw it, I forgot which Elm Street that was. It was the first one, and that was Johnny Depp's death scene. Could Ash fight Dracula or Frankenstein's monster? I believe he could. I believe he could. Did Evil Dead 2 feel more like a remake or a sequel? It was both. It was both, and the reason being was because they made the first film under a different production company. So that company had, well, not a production company, but that film was distributed by a different company who had the distribution rights to Evil Dead 1, so they could not take clips from their own movie to use as a prologue in Evil Dead 2. So instead, they basically refilmed the entire movie as a little, 10-minute sequence at the beginning of Evil Dead 2. So, everything up to the point where the demon comes in through the back of the house and grabs him and slings him across the woods, all of that is a really abbreviated remake of Evil Dead 1. And then from the moment he wakes up out of the mud puddle, that's Evil Dead 2. Hope that explains it for you. Is he worse than Shadowhood? No, he's not worse than Shadowhood. Shadowhood was an intentional troll. Did you like Halloween H2O? No. I didn't really like any Halloween movie past the first one. 7th, I also rarely block people. I'm mainly on my Twitter unless they spam me or if it's someone I don't like. Never seen you. Oh, I've been way angrier on here, Shadow Diaz. Way angrier. That wasn't even me mad. That's me annoyed. You haven't, y'all have seen me highly annoyed on here. You haven't seen me mad yet. You haven't seen me mad yet. When I get actually angry, I'm not able to talk right for a couple of days after because I tear my vocal cords up. You haven't seen me mad. Batman versus the Predator, who would win? They've actually did a graphic novel of that. As I recall, it was kind of a tie. Ash teaming up with Van Helsing would be if it was the Van Helsing from the Van Helsing movie, yes, that would be cool. I don't know why, but my favorite scene from Evil Dead 2 is everything in the cabin laughing. That is a funny one. Whoa, you didn't like Halloween 2? That's H2O. That's great. I just don't like it. I didn't enjoy it. And plus, they decanonized it. They decanonized everything after the first movie for these 3 remakes. And only one of them was even passably good. John Carpenter can be great. The Thing was amazing. Big Trouble in Little China is amazing. I love John Carpenter's vampires. That's mainly because of James Woods, though. James Woods is he's he's something else. Did you feel like when they brought Michael Myers back, they were just, they were just repeating the same old crap at that point, and plus trying to sneak in this kind of, the Men of Thorn or whatever it was called, subplot, conspiracy theory, secret society subplot crap that ended up not going anywhere. Cowboys and Aliens was horse crap. That was a boring movie. It wasn't any good, and the CGI looked like a video game. Thoughts on James Gunn? I like some of his stuff. Some of it. I saw it with my grandfather back in 2010, and we walked out. Oh, Cowboys it was a terrible movie. It was really boring, and the CG just didn't work. Just didn't work at all. And I didn't like Harrison Ford in it. I didn't like his character. What's your opinion on the Vampire Hunter D films? I love them both. I prefer the first one. I mean, the animation in the second one, of course, is way better, but I like the story of the first one better. No, I did not like any of the Leprechaun films. Do I like any of the Troma movies? I like the first 4 Toxic Avenger movies. I liked Poultrygeist, Night of the Chicken Dead. Trying to remember if there was any other ones that really... Class of Nukem High. I liked Class of Nukem High. I think that's about it, because I didn't really care for Kabuki Man NYPD. I didn't like that one at all. So it was mostly the Toxie movies. And even then, just I stopped at The Last Temptation of Toxie. That's the last one I watched. No, I have no hype for Tron 3 because I'm not a fan of Jared Leto. And it doesn't sound like they're picking up where the last one left off. It's not going to have... apparently it has Flynn in it, but it's not going to have Flynn's son, and it's not going to have Cora in it. So what the hell? Did you ever see the movie Rango with Johnny Depp? Oh, where he's a chameleon or a gecko or whatever that he fashioned after Hunter S. Thompson in his Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas movie? Yes, I've seen it. I have the plat in the video game too. The only John Carpenter movies I like are Assault on Precinct 13 and Big Trouble in Little China. I like Big Trouble in Little China, but again, I like the first Halloween and I like The Thing. and I like vampires. I'm not that big on Assault on Precinct 13, especially after he cheapened it by basically remaking it with Ghost of Mars. Yes, the singer from 30 Seconds, Jared Leto. He's in Tron 3. Same guy that played Crappy Joker in the first Suicide Squad movie. Same guy that played Morbius, the living vampire. That guy. The whole movie is going to be about him. The Tron 3. It's all about him. No thank you. How many Jason films do you like? I liked 1 through 7. I didn't like Jason Takes Manhattan. I didn't like Jason X, even though some of it was funny. And I didn't like Jason Goes to Hell the Final Friday. I did like Freddy vs. Jason. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. And it goes without saying, I didn't care for the Friday the 13th series that had nothing to do with the movies either. At least when they made Freddy's Nightmares, that actually had Freddy in it, you know. He played Paul Allen in American. Yeah, he was in American. He's been in a bunch of stuff, but I'm not exactly impressed by his acting. Let's just put it that way. Let's just put it that way. I'm craving pizza. Why am I craving pizza? Do you think we'll ever be watching content by hologram or always on a physical screen? I don't think it'll ever be by hologram. I don't think we're going to be watching, we're going to be I don't even think that virtual reality is going to advance to the point where we're like in the movie kind of thing, because it would make the production of it so incredibly expensive and over convoluted that there'd be no point. They wouldn't make their profit from it. So no, I don't think we're going to be watching movies on holograms. I think, Jim Cameron's retooling of 3D is about as good as it's going to get aside from resolution. Thoughts on Unknown 9 Awakening, you mean? I only discovered that game today, and that was only from people posting videos about how much they hated it. Did you ever hear of the vampire garlic conspiracy? Garlic thins out the blood, making it better for vampires to suck. No, I have not heard that. So you're saying that vampires put forth that garlic repels them to trick people into wearing it so their blood would be easier to drink? Thoughts on Hi-Fi Rush? It was okay. I liked it all right. I never finished it because the gameplay loop wasn't keeping me interested. But, I think it was good enough that studio didn't deserve what they got. I have the first few albums of his band. They're okay, but after the 2000s, they went more popish. I never liked his band. Favorite Jason Voorhees kill or top couple? Even though it's from a movie that I didn't necessarily like all the way through, as I just stated, I do like where he killed that person by slamming their sleeping bag up against the tree. I like that kill. Or maybe that was in part 7. I can't remember. I do like that one kill. I liked a lot of the kills in part 3 that was done in 3D. Because they're just so cheesy watching them in not 3D, but I still get a kick out of them. How many of the Nightmare on Elm Street films did you like? 1, 3, 4, New Nightmare, Freddy vs. Jason. I didn't like Freddy's Dead. I didn't like Freddy 2. I didn't like The Dream Child. He did that in Jason X. Okay. Did you ever watch the Batman versus Dracula movie? Oh, the animated thing? I think I did a long time ago. I had that graphic novel, Batman and Dracula. I had the graphic novel. It was one of the Elseworld books. Look what happened to Ready at Dawn. Facebook bought them and now they're defunct. Yep. They made a couple of crappy VR games. And then they're done. And they're done. So now, we're definitely never getting a revival of The Order now. The Order would have been a great series for Halloween. That if they could have put out a new The Order game every couple of years, that would have been a great Halloween series. If they had just gotten the mix of story versus gameplay better in that first game, that could have been Sony's Gears of War. If they had done it right. But Ready at Dawn were more involved in story and showing off the tech of their engine than making sure that it had good, long, compelling gameplay. There just wasn't enough to it. I mean, the shooting mechanics were fine. Excuse me. Shooting mechanics were fine, and I liked some of the guns. Some of the guns were really fun to use. There just wasn't enough to it, Why didn't you like Nightmare on Elm Street 2? Was it because of Jesse screaming? Well, because even at a young age, I could tell that there was something awfully gay about that movie. That movie came out in what, 1985? Something like that. I was maybe 11 years old. And I didn't get to go see it at the theater, so I didn't get to see it till it came out on VHS, so I might have been 12 by the time I saw it. But, even at that age, I could tell that, there was a lot of gay stuff and a lot of gay subtext in that movie. And so there was just always something that felt kind of skeezy about it. Not because I have anything against gay culture or gay people or anything like that. I have a lot of gay friends. But just that it felt like they were trying to sneak ideas in with the movie and make it seem like it was just about Freddy possessing someone. And I've never been a fan of that whole let's hide our message within the plot of a horror movie or hide our message in the plot of a video game and all that kind of. I've never been a fan of that. Even when I was a kid, I didn't like that kind of thing. Why do you think the Godfather 3 failed? It didn't have a good plot, and Coppola's daughter was a terrible actress. Maybe she's great as a director, but as an actress, she sucked. I love Freddy vs. Jason. It's not what it could have been, and I think that Jason should have been played by Kane Hodder, but otherwise, I really enjoy it. What did the yeah, I know the rights to Hi-Fi Rush got sold, so we may get sequel, but it's still kind of up in the air. We'll wait and see what happens. What would the GTA games have to do to bring you back hypothetically? Have better, tighter, more responsive gameplay, especially in the shooting mechanics, and have a storyline that actually interests me. It's not repetitive and stupid. I thought Freddy vs. Jason was crap. Well, I'm not saying that it's, a great horror film. I think it's a fun movie. It's a fun movie to watch. I'm not saying it's a great horror movie. It's not. But it's a fun movie to watch. You probably shouldn't have done the 7thCast tonight. You're in a snippy mood. I don't care. You got a problem with it, go watch something else. Honestly, I don't like those kind of horror movies about mass murderers. Slasher films. You don't like slasher films. I'm more into Evil Dead. Well, I am too. I will always take a supernatural horror movie over a slasher film. Like, I can't stand the Scream movies at all. I hate every single one of them. They're boring as hell, and to me, they're not funny. Thoughts on 8-Bit Eric? Rich was bashing him on the content he makes on his channel and trashing his book. I get along with Eric. We've sat together. There are some things that he's in his interactions with me that have kind of annoyed me, but that's just life. You're not going to always get 100% along with everybody around you. I don't know him as well as I know Billy and Jay. As far as his book goes, I would never disparage somebody for sitting down and writing a book. The only thing I'll say there is he probably would have benefited well from having an editor, an actual experienced editor, sit down and edit his book before he published it. There's nothing wrong with the content of it or the intent of the content, but some of the writing, because he's not an experienced writer, has some issues when you read it. I'm not going to go into specifics because I'm not bashing the guy, but it's the quality of writing that you would expect from someone who has a good story idea but has never written anything before. He needed a good editor. That's all I'm saying. It's a good story. It just needs a good edit. I would have done it for him for free if he had asked me. I like John Carpenter's They Live. I like that movie. I think the only thing I don't like about it is probably the ending. I wasn't a big fan of the ending of that movie. Did you know Dolph Lundgren was going to play Leatherface in 2003, but he wanted to spend time with his family? I hadn't heard that, no. I have not played the Silent Hill 2 remake. 8th has it. 8th has played it. I think 8th already has the plat on it, in fact. Oh, Freddy vs. Jason, that is. Not that good of a movie, but a good soundtrack. I just think it's a fun movie. I just liked watching the two of them beat each other up. Do you like the movie Fright Night? I love the movie Fright Night. In fact, I have its sequel, Fright Night 2, on Blu-ray. It wasn't released here in the States. I had to order the Spanish version from overseas and have it imported. It's still in English, but it has Spanish subtitles. Did you like the TV series Money Heist? Never heard of it, but I probably wouldn't have. Why did you not like They Live's ending? I didn't like the fact that Nada died at the end of it. I get why, but I didn't like the fact that Roddy Piper's character died at the end. I think the back alley scene was overrated. I don't think it was overrated because I know what went into making it. It was an impressive thing in that kind of a scene for that type of movie hadn't really been done before. But it ended up being the way it was because of Roddy Piper being involved in it. I like Fright Night too. I don't like it as much as the first one. because the villain is not as good as Jerry Dandridge. Chris Sarandon was fantastic in Fright Night. And this villain was good, but she couldn't hold a candle to him. Thoughts on Amityville Horror? I actually didn't like the original that much. Compared to the films, the Exorcist, which is what inspired the making of it. You know, that's why they wanted to cash in, because Exorcist revitalized horror. It felt cheap, low budget compared to the Exorcist. I just didn't like it. And I know I'm gonna get yelled at for this. I liked the remake with Ryan Reynolds better than the original one. I don't care if that makes anybody mad. I just like it better. I think it had better. I mean, I just think everything about it was better than the first one. What do you want? Okay. What? Who? Okay. Whatever. Yes, Keith David died in it too. Which I wasn't happy about that either, but I especially didn't like that they killed off Roddy Piper. Thoughts on The Hills Have Eyes? I never got into them. I didn't like them very much. Didn't like Wrong Turn either. I like a mixture of action in my horror films, like this, like Shocker, where the horror hero is actually tussling with a horror villain, not being a victim. Amityville Horror felt like a copycat of Poltergeist. Amityville Horror came out before Poltergeist. Poltergeist came after Amityville Horror. And had a much bigger budget because Spielberg was involved. Which, you know, I love Poltergeist. Me and A3 watched it a couple of days ago. But I also like the remake. Even though Sam Rockwell's father character, tonally, he's kind of all over the place in that movie. So I feel like there was a lot of stuff that was cut out of it to make it shorter. And that's probably why it's so jarring to see him go from one mood to the next like that. It's something that got lost in the edit, I think. You ever watch any of the 50s Draculas? Well, I've seen the original Dracula with Bela Lugosi. I've seen the original Nosferatu that came out before it. I've seen several of the Hammer Dracula movies with Christopher Lee and whatnot. But I think I only saw the first American one with Bela Lugosi, and then I think I saw Didn't he show up in one of the Abbott Costello movies too? Wasn't Dracula in like Abbott Costello meets Frankenstein or one of those? They Live is getting a sequel. Oh dear God, they're gonna ruin it. I liked the Amityville Horror prequel. I don't think I've seen an Amityville Horror. Oh, you're talking about Amityville 2: The Possession? Well, yeah, I like that one too because it has Diane Franklin in it, and you know she shows her titties. So, who wouldn't like Amityville Horror 2: The Possession? Thoughts on the movie Psycho? I've heard some people say the second one is pretty good. And the third one is nowhere near as good, but there's just some really weird stuff that happens in the third one that makes it fun to watch. It's not as good as part 2, but it is fun to watch. It's campier. I don't know how else to explain it. It's campier. Tell me your experience with the Blade movies. I saw all 3 of them at the theater. I saw the first one with a coworker at the time named Henry, and we went to see it together. Henry was my teammate in one of my first major IT jobs, and tall, lanky, black kid. He was maybe a year older than me, and we went to see it when it came out, and it was great. It was great. The second one I saw by myself, and I really liked it because it felt more like a horror movie. And the third one just felt like a comedy where Blade was barely in it. I don't understand that movie. I don't think Ryan Reynolds should have been in it because he took up too much of Blade's screen time to where it didn't feel like it was a Blade movie anymore. It felt like it was a Night Stalkers movie that just had Blade in it. Ever watched Blackula? Long time ago, yes. The Amityville Horror movie with Ryan Reynolds was a remake, and I actually like that one. I like that one better than the original. The original one just felt cheap, and I didn't care for any of the actors in it. I mean, yeah, I liked her as Lois Lane in the Superman movies, but I've never been able to like her in just about anything else. Thoughts on Ghost Ship? I like the opening scene where everyone gets cut in half. The rest of the movie is just boring. It's a very slow-moving film. Do you remember the babysitter from the Amityville remake? Yes, I believe so. What's your favorite way to cook a turkey during Thanksgiving? Just the regular old way. Just stuff it with stuffing and bake it. Although, we don't really do turkey anymore because of what a pain in the ass it is to make it. We do chicken and dumplings now. And plus, neither me nor Eighth are big fans of turkey anyway. Our favorite turkey is buying one of the giant turkey legs at the Magic Kingdom. So we just do chicken and dumplings instead. It's quicker and easier, and we like it better. Oh, by the way, one hour remaining. We've had $10 in donations. We are still $40 short of extending the show by an hour. So not only did I have to spend all day trying to get the whole donation thing fixed from where PayPal screwed me, it would appear that today I did it for nothing anyway. Perfect end of the weekend. Perfect end. That scene with the line in Ghost Ship, how it sliced through everyone, one of the most gruesome. It was a gruesome scene. I liked it. Blade and Deadpool, yeah. The two remakes of Black Christmas they're both crap. The most recent one is the worst, though. Thoughts on the Ghost Rider movies? Both of them suck. The only thing that makes them watchable is Nick Cage, who honestly I don't feel he was a good pick for Johnny Blaze. He was too old for one thing. So, what I want is a hard R, really horror-filled Ghost Rider movie. Where he's really taking on some of the more dark, satanic enemies that he takes on in the comics. That's what I want. Whether I'll actually get it or not, it's another story. No, I've never tried duck for Thanksgiving. Bye, Nicholas. Was the first Halloween movie actually an anthology and Michael Myers was a spin? No. The first Halloween movie was all about Michael Myers. And the second Halloween movie was all about Michael Myers. And then the third Halloween movie was an anthology. Well, not even an anthology. It was just a completely unrelated story because they wanted to turn Halloween into an anthology series. And it didn't do well. So in the fourth one, they went back to Michael Myers and never tried doing another plot for Halloween ever again. No, I haven't seen Red Christmas. I've seen Silent Night, Bloody Night, Silent Night, Deadly Night, Black Christmas. I've seen a bunch of Christmas horror movies, but I haven't seen Red Christmas. Have I ever seen Con Air? Did I like it? Yes, it's cheesy, but I liked it. My grandpa used to bring duck for Thanksgiving. I can honestly say I've never eaten duck. Never had duck, not even at a Chinese restaurant or anything. No duck. Never ate duck. I like Halloween 3, I just don't like it as a Halloween movie. I mean, I'm even using a reference to it for when we do our trick-or-treating thing this year. Because, we don't have like I said before, we don't have a whole lot of a budget. But with what we could work with, we're trying to do a spooky garage. So the kids will have to walk into our spooky garage to get the candy. And we've got a stereo system hooked up out there that we've had for years that ties in via Bluetooth to our Spotify. And one of the audio clips that we're going to use is the Silver Shamrock theme. And I've got it in there several times in the playlist so that, to increase the possibility of it getting played during the night. It's part of a playlist that's like 6 hours long that I created. Because I don't really... They say that this neighborhood gets taken over by kids during Halloween, and it goes on for hours. So I don't know how long I'm going to be out there dishing out candy. So I made a 6-hour playlist. And I'm also... While all of that is going on... Me and Eighth will be wearing matching costumes, and I will be using this. Which, honestly, the way things have gone tonight, I should have used it tonight. That's what I should have done. That's what I should have done.
So I could have told Ultra Steel to shut the hell up.
I like them apples. That's what I should have done. But I didn't. But I'm going to have that out there. And I'm going to, I'm just going to be messing around with the neighborhood, using that to do a kind of almost a Skeletor type voice. Just messing around with the kids, Nothing major. And, we're going to have some skeletons hung up and blacklight posters with blacklight everywhere and little skull lights. And we're going to be standing behind the bar because my garage has a wet bar in it. And, we have a fog machine that's going to make it foggy in there and the kids can walk in. And I have like multiple cauldrons that are going to be lining the bar that has all sorts of stuff in it. And I've assorted chocolate, bubble gum, Lick-O-Maid, lollipops, Pop Rocks, Smarties, just all sorts of stuff where they'll be able to just kind of, take a couple of what they want, and instead of just getting like a couple little pieces of chocolate, I'm going to kind of give them an assortment to pick from. I've got like 1,500 pieces of candy to give out, so hopefully that'll be enough. I know he left. I'm trying to have fun with it. Don't spoil my fun. Did I like the ending of Halloween 3? To me, it's just called Season of the Witch. Yeah, I tend to think of it as Season of the Witch, too. Do you think Tarantino's 10th movie should be Kill Bill 3? No. Kill Bill 3 should just be over with because Bill is dead. What are they going to do? Bring him back as a zombie to kill him again? How come Candyman and Beetlejuice got movies, but Bloody Mary got left? I think there has been a Bloody Mary movie, but it was kind of a direct-to-video thing. And Beetlejuice wasn't an actual urban legend either. And Candyman was just a version of Bloody Mary. Herbert from overseas here. Hello, Herbert from overseas. Megahorn hype. Yes, 1,500 pieces of candy. Did you think he stopped the commercial at the end of season of? I don't know. I don't know. It'd be Kill the Bride, I guess. I guess so. I don't know. I kind of wanted to see his R-rated Star Trek, to be honest with you. I know we'll never get it, but I think that would be something interesting to see. Probably be a train wreck, but it'd be a fun train wreck to watch. I'm going to do something real quick. La 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 la. La 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 la. Damn, where is it? I know I have it. Don't mess with me, phone. Don't you mess with me, phone. I don't celebrate Halloween. Today, nowadays, for me, Halloween is just Chinese food and vampire movies. I get that. But I mean, I haven't given out Halloween candy in at least 7 years. But I'm doing it this time because I'm in a new neighborhood, and I'm in an HOA where they strongly encourage participation in community events. And so it would look bad if I didn't give out candy. So if I'm going to have to give out candy, I might as well have a good time with it and have fun. So I'm going to dress up in a costume, and I'm going to have my megaphone and be obnoxious. And I'm going to play loud music out of my garage, and the rest of the neighbors can just deal with it until I go to bed. Let's see here. What is it doing here? That's not what I wanted. This app sucks. This app is ass. Used to. What I'm trying to do is set up dinner for me and 8th for when after the show is over. And used to, with this app, you could go to your history of what you've ordered in the past and just reorder the same thing. And that's what I'm trying to do here, and it's not letting me do it. Because this app sucks. Let's see, what does he like? He likes that, and he likes that. Okay. And he likes that. Okay. And then, okay. And then he likes these. Flavor. Honey barbecue, okay. That works for me. Even though I'm not going to be eating them, he'll be eating them. And let's go out of that. And I want a pizza. And I know which one I want. If this thing will stop loading on me. Own. Wait a minute. Where is it? Don't tell me they got rid of it. the crap? There it is. Wow, they hid it down near the bottom of the menu. That's crazy. Pepperoni and bacon. Okay. Add to order. Let's see here. Let me catch up real quick. Did anyone try saying Bloody Mary 13 times? I thought it only took 3. No, I'm not talking about The Lost Boys. Okay. Did you like the Candyman films? The first one was all right. Didn't like anything after that. Hit him with the 7th theme song. I had Chinese food last night. I like pepper steak. That's my favorite. Pepper steak and fried rice. Use your radio voice while you're ordering that. No, I'm not using my radio voice. Come on. Okay. What does that mean? There. Happy. right, but lately it's had problems. This app has had problems where I have to put my credit card in over and over again to get it to accept my new zip code. I don't understand why. I don't know why it does that, but it does. And I don't feel like getting up. I don't feel like getting up to go get my credit card to manually type it in again. I don't know why it just won't work. It irritates the shit out of me. Oh, well, I guess we're not eating tonight. 'Cause I don't feel like getting up to go get the card and manually type it in again. You know, Pizza Hut should just work. Their stupid thing should just work. I don't understand why it doesn't work. I shouldn't have to manually type my card in over and over again every time I want to order something from them. Their software is crap. I don't get it. You know, fix your trash ass shit. Really? Piece of crap. And their regular website sucks ass too, I tell you. Terrible. Their website doesn't even have the same stuff as the app. The app has the $7 menu, and their website doesn't have the $7 menu. What the crap? This is so freaking stupid. Screw it. I don't know why I even bother with Pizza Hut anymore. This stuff's crap. I don't like Domino's. I don't like the flavor. I like New York pizza, yes. Is it me or now people don't care about video games anymore? Well, you know. Maybe you're not wrong there. Chicken lo mein and shrimp rolls. Fried bread. Marco's is too expensive for what you get. I like Marco's, but it could be better. It could be better. Oh well. Whatever. I probably don't need pizza anyway. An eighth can just fend for himself. Probably shouldn't be eating pizza that late anyway. Do you think Christopher Lee would have made a better Dr. Loomis? Christopher Lee would make a better just about anybody. Christopher Lee was a great actor. I loved Christopher Lee. Did you like the film Get Out and Us? No, not really. I liked Nope. I liked Nope a lot, but I didn't care for Get Out or Us that much. Got to try your local pizzeria. The fast food chains are garbage. Well, I mean, there's not a whole lot in the way of that here. I mean, there is what's supposed to be a New York style place in the town south of here, but I haven't had the opportunity to try it yet. Do you think Christopher Lee could have played Lex Luthor? I don't know, because I don't think I've ever watched a movie where Christopher Lee tried to use an American accent. I don't think I've ever seen that. And I don't know that he would have shaved his head. I don't think Gene Hackman shaved his head either. I think he used a skull cap, but still. Those balls with sugar covered on them. Oh, we always called those Chinese donuts. Yeah. You guys have gotten kind of quiet. I guess I kind of killed the conversation trying to order pizza, huh? Next time I'll do that before I'll order it for a late date, and I'll do that before the 7th cast starts instead of wasting time doing it on camera. Did you like Batman versus Superman? Not really. I mean, the director's cut was better, but it still wasn't great. It was okay, but it wasn't, fantastic. Out of all those movies, I liked Wonder Woman, I liked Man of Steel, and I liked Justice League Snyder Cut. Did you like the Punisher movie, the one with Kevin Nash? There were elements of it that I liked, but for the most part, I feel they got the tone of the character wrong. Don't get me wrong, Thomas Jane was great in the role, but they had him doing stuff that I don't think the Punisher would have done. Like, trying to make the bad guy think that his best friend is sleeping with his wife and that kind of stupid crap. I don't think the Punisher would have gone through all that. He just would have broke through into the building and started shooting everybody up. No, I was not a big fan of Suicide Squad. I don't eat pizza because of irritable bowel syndrome. I have similar issues myself, but pizza doesn't seem to set it off for some reason. It's other things that set it off. It's not so much what I eat, it's the quantity of it and when. I've had it get set off just from a bowl of cereal. It just depends on how much of it and when. Thomas Jane had the better performance. Ray Stevenson had the better appearance. Ray Stevenson's portrayal was more accurate to the character as far as the things that he did. And much better action than the first one. If we could have had Thomas Jane in that script, it would have been great. Yeah, there's not really any good Chinese restaurants here. Not that I've been able to find. There was a pretty decent one up the street from us when we lived outside of Austin, but we haven't been able to find a good one since moving here. There's a Chinese buffet, but it kind of sucks. It's like right next to the GameStop, and it sucks. I don't know how we're going to do. Ever been to Texas Roadhouse? Yes, several times. And in fact, I've been to a Texas Roadhouse since I moved to this town, because it's the only decent place in town to get a halfway decent steak without having to go to one of these locally owned places that charges you $70 for a T-bone. So, yes, I've been to Texas Roadhouse. I actually like them better than Longhorn. My favorite, as far as affordable steak, was always Logan's. But Logan's went out of business, so now I have to choose between Longhorn or Texas, and I'll go with Texas. The Punisher is my favorite comic book character. I have a ton of comics, and I would say he would do stuff like that because he does use psychological war. Yeah, but the kind of psychological warfare that he does in that one, where he's just trying to he's going out of his way, like having a fake fire hydrant and all this stuff, and planting stuff just to make the bad guy think that his right hand man is stooping his wife when his right hand man is gay, and it was stupid. And plus, he spends so much of the movie using a bow and arrow, which I know, historically he's used bow and arrow and crossbow and all that. But he uses bow and arrow a lot in that movie compared to just straightforward lots and lots of guns. It just doesn't feel like shit that the Punisher would do. In some ways, it felt more like stuff Green Arrow would do. So I would have preferred having Thomas Jane in the second Punisher movie, because that one actually felt like Punisher. As far as one's actions go, I think the Dolph Lundgren Punisher felt more like Punisher than the stuff they had Thomas Jane doing, outside of his performance. Logan is still open where I'm at. Well, it went out of business where I was living at the time, and I don't think there's one around here. I know he's done that before, Soul Drift. I'm saying the way he did it in that movie is not something he would have really done. It was hokey. And plus, it sucked that it was in Tampa instead of New York, because Tampa was cheaper. And because a lot of it had to do with the fact that they hired John Travolta as the villain, because Florida was easier for John Travolta. Shouldn't have been John Travolta. It should have been the frickin' Kingpin. Ever Eat Cookout. You mean like the restaurant Cookout? Long, long time ago. Did you like the Punisher PS2 game? I have it, but I have the OG Xbox version instead of PS2. I have it on Xbox. Ugh. My back's hurting, boys. nice. It's an underrated game. Yeah, it is a fun game. I couldn't tell you specifically why I have it on OG Xbox instead of uh you know PS2. It just kind of turned out that way. I think I just happened across it at a convention, and I was like, well, I don't have this. Seventh, what's going to die first? Uncharted, The Last of Us, or God of War? Uncharted's already dead. So there you go. Uncharted's already dead. Neil Druckmann killed it. Punisher No Mercy could have been better. Yes, it could have. I liked the arcade game. And I have a Punisher game for NES that's... it's kind of like Dynamite Duke. And I want to say I have one for Genesis that's a version of the arcade beat-em-up. You need a redo. You had a bad week leading up to today's show. I hope next week is better. I hope next week is better too. At least I got a couple of different donations using both ways to donate, so I can at least go in and make sure that the changes I made actually work. I mean, I didn't get a notification on my phone for the $5 tip from Darkstar, but maybe you're not supposed to get a notification on your phone for what I set up. Maybe that was strictly a PayPal thing. So I'll have to go into my Streamlabs after this is done and see if that actually happened. The $5 wasn't God of War inspired by. If it was, I don't know anything about it. It was my understanding that God of War was inspired by Japanese action games at the time, like Devil May Cry, and Cory Balrog was like, they're kicking our ass in action games. We got to make something to show that Americans can do this kind of thing too. And there was God of War. Might have drawn some inspiration here and there from Zelda, but the motivation came from all the over-the-top character-driven action games that were coming out of Japan, like Devil May Cry. Siphon filter? Well, yeah. I'm willing to bet that would find an audience if they brought it back. The Keanu Reeves Constantine movie is getting a sequel. It is getting a sequel. I don't know if its video game is getting a sequel, but the movie is getting a sequel with Keanu Reeves. I don't know when it goes into production, but it is getting a sequel. Sony Bend, I don't know what they're working on right now. They're supposedly they're working on a new IP. Supposedly. I don't know what that is. But they're supposed to be working on a new IP. We will see. Do you like the John Wick films? I liked the first two. I wasn't a big fan of 3 or 4. Especially 4. Yeah, Keanu Reeves has really wanted to do a new Constantine. I don't know why, but apparently he just really likes that movie and wanted to make another one. I mean, it made all right money, as I understand it. Of course, it's not going to have Shia LaBeouf back, because he's like Hollywood kryptonite now. But Keanu Reeves will definitely be back. I wonder if Tilda Swinton will be back. Or that guy that played the devil. Is he even still alive? I don't know. We got 20 minutes left, folks. 20 minutes left. No, I didn't like the Bourne Identity films. They had too much of the shaky cam crap going on. Point Break 1991. It was okay. Wasn't one of my favorites. And I didn't like the remake at all. No, I haven't watched the Knives Out movies. I'm not a fan of Rian Johnson. I liked some of the Transformers films, not all of them. Wasn't that biker zombie game in the Siphon Filter? I don't know what game you're talking about. Biker zombies? I don't know what you're talking about. Went over my head with that one, Clean Frame. I'm not familiar with a biker zombie game. Cloverfield didn't have what I would call shaky cam. It's found footage, which is everything's filmed on a camcorder, so of course there's shake to it. Bourne Identity was not a found footage movie, so it should not have shaky cam. But it had shaky cam so much that it made it hard to follow what was going on in the fight sequences. That's the point. It makes sense thematically for there to be shaking in found footage movies because it scared people holding a camcorder. It doesn't make sense for it to be in a movie where your point of view is not from somebody's camera. I like Days Gone. I mean, it's a solid 7.5 out of 10. Yes, I saw Blair Witch in the theater when it first came out. If Days Gone takes place in the Siphon Filter universe, I don't remember anyone ever having said so. I don't remember seeing that in an article or anything. Not saying it isn't true. I just have no memory of anyone ever having said that. Oh, goodness. Goodness me. I was just drying up on questions tonight, huh? Yeah, well. Is what it is. I watched a pretty trippy horror movie the other night. It was on Amazon, I think. It was called Daddy's Head. And what I liked about it was that it never explains why what is happening is happening. Dude with a son remarries. And he's like this rich architect guy. So he has this really nice house out in the woods in the middle of nowhere. House looks kind of like Bruce Wayne's house in Justice League. You know, overlooking a lake, and it's all one floor with a bunch of big glass windows. That's what the house looks like. Well, anyway, he suddenly dies unexpectedly. Doesn't really go into great detail about what happens to him, but he ends up getting effed up really bad, and they end up pulling the plug on him, and he dies in the hospital. Well, then all of a sudden, the son, starts seeing his dad, but his dad looks different, and he's like running around on all fours in the woods and has built some kind of elaborate thing that he lives in out in the woods. And it's all about, what is this thing? Is this really his father? And if so, what the hell happened to him? Blah, blah, blah. And, I'm not going to say how it ends or anything, but throughout the whole movie, it never explains if this was really his father or some creature trying to convince him if it was his father, where it came from, what its motivation is, what it wants. None of it. None of it is addressed. It just happens because it happens. And I kind of like that kind of thing. Stephen King does that every now and again in some of his short stories. And so I enjoyed it. It wasn't the scariest thing I've ever seen, but then again, nothing really scares me when it comes to horror movies anymore. But I had fun with it. Geez, I've been playing Street Fighter 6 for 7 hours. That sounds like you might have some blisters forming there, sir. What were the discussions around Blair Witch Project back then? There were some people that, because of the website and everything that it had supporting it in the marketing, thought that it was an actual thing. And they went out of their way to try to make it seem that way for a while because they hid the actors from interviews and stuff for a while after it came out. But eventually, they had the interviews proving they're still alive and they're just actors and what have you. But my thing with it was that you spent 2 hours with nothing really happening, and then it ends with a dude standing in the corner. And, you never saw what was happening to anybody. You never saw what was doing to them the things that you didn't see happen to them. So for me, it was just a 2-hour cock tease. It helped reestablish the found footage genre that had been kind of left behind for years, but still, there wasn't a whole lot of meat on that bone. It was all, mood with no substance. If Keanu Reeves plays a character named Johnny, it's going to be good to at least interesting movie. Possibly so. Did you like the TV series Gotham? It was so-so. I was never at any point convinced that kid would grow up to be Batman. Not for a single second. They missed the ball on that one. Not good casting for Bruce Wayne. Everything else I liked, but horrible Bruce Wayne. Yeah, I think I mentioned that like a week ago when they had that final scene and he turns around and he's in the suit. I didn't believe it for a second because even as an adult, he was this scrawny little nothing, and here he is standing there. And I didn't buy it for an instant. Got just a few minutes left, folks. A few minutes left. I liked the first version of Joker. I didn't like his twin brother, but I liked the first one. I didn't like the fact that they couldn't call him Joker. It was so obvious that's who he was, but they couldn't call him that. And I didn't like that they killed him off and then replaced him with the other brother, the twin. It got more convoluted than it needed to be. That part of it was dumb. I did like their version of the Penguin. I liked their version of Penguin. Yeah, the Batsuit didn't look good either. Especially since it was being filled out by this little scrawny kid. I tell you, one of the comics that I really liked back in the 90s was Batman Legends of the Dark Knight. I liked that one because it kind of like built off of the platform of Batman Year One. So I really liked that comic. At least when it first started out, it kind of petered out after a while, but I really liked it a lot at first. No, I didn't like Smallville. I thought it was corny. They couldn't call him Joker because they didn't have the rights to Joker. Joker was tied up in something else, so they couldn't call him Joker. Who used to write The Punisher back in the 80s and early 90s? I have no idea. I don't really keep up with comic book writers that much. You know, I know a few. I know Liefeld, Jim Lee, Todd McFarlane, Tex Aviera, or whatever his name was, that worked on Ghost Rider. Of course, Stan Lee, Jack Kirby. Yeah, I know a handful of them, but I'm not overly familiar with it. What's better, the Dark Knight trilogy or the Arkham trilogy? I prefer the Dark Knight trilogy, thank you. Oh, my neck. We're down to the last 10 minutes or so, folks. 10-minute warning. Chuck Dixon. Yeah. Garth Ennis. I know Peter David had a run with Incredible Hulk at one point. And I mainly only know that because I read some of Peter David's books, which were pretty good. Oh, listen to that click. One of my knuckles is just hosed. Yes, I liked the Incredible Hulk TV series from the 80s with Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno. I liked it. Some of it was stupid, but I liked it. It especially got stupid with the made-for-TV movies after the show went off the air. Like Return of the Incredible Hulk and Trial of the Incredible Hulk and all that. I mean, at least they tried to do something new with it, but what a crappy version of Thor. What a horrible version of Daredevil, you know? No. Because what I liked with the TV show was it was kind of a little bit more grounded in reality than the comics were, mainly because they didn't have the budget to do what Hulk did in the comics, but it gave it a little bit more of a sense of reality. And then all of a sudden they have Thor showing up in the made-for-TV movie, and I'm like, okay, whatever. You just ruined it. That's fine. I don't know anything about Garth Brooks in his heyday. I'm not a country fan. Did you like Ang Lee's Hulk? I liked components of it. I didn't like the movie itself, but there were things about it that I liked. Is it more worthwhile to pay $800 for a 30th anniversary PS5 Slim or just buy a normal Slim with the disc drive? I just buy a normal Slim with the disc drive. Because if you buy the 30th anniversary Slim and then buy a disc drive, it's not going to be the right color and it's going to look stupid. So just buy the regular Slim. You know I'm not going to encourage you to buy a digital-only system because I don't support digital-only. I'm a physical media guy. We got about 5 minutes left, everybody. 5 minutes left. Why not they do that with the PlayStation 2? What, make a PS2 that looked like a PS1? Because the PS1 wasn't old enough for people to be nostalgic for it. That's why. If the PS6 is all digital, will you still be gaming? I don't know. I mean, since they're bringing all their exclusives out on PC anyway, if the PS6 is all digital, that might be the point where I just give up and go to PC and just run PC to my TV. Just get a splitter and run it to HDMI. In the States, PS2 released in 2000, not in 1999. $1999 was the year you turned 8. Let's see. 1999, I would have been like 24, I think. Somewhere around there, 24. I was an adult living on my own in glorious Jacksonville, Florida. Living in an area called Bay Meadows, also known as Jacksonville's South Side. Not too far from a couple of retro game stores that I liked, and the nicest mall in town, and 15 minutes to the beach, 15 minutes to all the best nightclubs in town. It was a prime spot, and it was quiet. Not a lot of crime went on there. I mean, now I hear it's a shithole. I hear it's become like, the hood. But when I lived there, it was a quiet, clean place. Of course, we're talking, like I said, in the 90s, so a long time ago. In 2000, did you feel the magic in the air when both New York teams made it to the World Series? No, because I don't watch sports. You ought to know that by now. Born in 74, that would have been 24 or 25, depending on... Yeah. 1974. Richard Nixon was still president. No. Was he? Or had Gerald Ford taken over by then, by the time I was born? I don't really know. I don't remember. 2 minutes, was I scared of Y2K? No. And I was working in IT at the time. I'd already started my IT career at that point. I wasn't worried about it. I figured nothing would happen. Or that whatever would happen would be, nowhere near the gloom and doom that everyone was screaming about it. I was just trying to sneak one in, 7. Okay. Man, I'm tired, y'all. It's been a rough week. I do wish that things will start slowing down at work a little bit. Normally, wintertime is our slow season. No, I was not scared of 2012. I didn't believe in all that bull crap. Rightfully so, obviously. Rightfully so. I mean, hell, worse things have happened this year than anything that happened in 2012. This has been a rough one for some folks, man. Almost was a rough one for me. God saw fit to let that tornado just go right on by. Do I miss shopping malls? We still have malls in Texas, The one that we have here now isn't that great. It's mostly dead, but the one that we had down outside of Austin, it still was packed, always had people in it. So, because it was still a fun thing for kids to go do. Born in 91 when Bush Sr. was in the White House, father, not the son, right? November, that is around the time the Addams Family was released. Yeah, I went to see the Addams Family with my mom that November. My dad didn't have any interest in seeing it, so I went to see it with my mom. And she laughed her head off. She had a really good time. That being said, it is 9 o'clock. We had $10 in donations, so we did not make the extension goal. So this is where I'll be parting ways with y'all for the evening. Be thinking about what you want to ask me next week, and I will see you then. Same 7th time.